which his feet stood. I love the ground on which his feet stood. Wherever he went, the air grew sweet. The air was filled with light and love. Wherever he went, the air grew sweet. The air was filled with light and love. With beatitude he filled every heart. I love the ground on which his feet stood. I love the ground on which his feet stood. He's plain to us the path and made us understand the reality and the truth. He's plain to us the path and made us understand the reality and the truth of this life and the afterlife. I love the ground on which his feet stood. I love the ground on which his feet stood. He told us that in childhood we played, in adolescence with patience we burn ourselves. He told us that in childhood we played, in adolescence with patience we burn ourselves. In the mature age we should understand. I love the ground on which his feet stood. I love the ground on which his feet stood. The bonds of affection are unstable, they are those of family intrigue and painful revealed to be. The bonds of affection are unstable, they are those of family intrigue and painful revealed to be. Friendships at the appropriate moment evaporate into nothing. I love the ground on which his feet stood. I love the ground on which his feet stood. The frantic accumulation of richness and treasures, name and fame and power in this world. The frantic accumulation of richness and treasures, name and fame and power in this world. Their illusions that like donkeys make us turn around. I love the ground on which his feet stood. I love the ground on which his feet stood. Satguru has made us understand that this life it's a mirage, that divine light is the only reality. Satguru has made us understand that this life is a mirage, that divine light is the only reality that projects on the screen, passing by images. I love the ground on which his feet stood. I love the ground on which his feet stood. Meditation on the light and sound makes us aware that the real world. Meditation on the light and sound makes us aware that the real world, it is freedom from any dependence. I love the ground on which his feet stood. I love the ground on which his feet stood. The only bond that breaks every chain, it is devotion to the one, to the eternal. The only bond that breaks every chain, it is devotion to the one, to the eternal, that takes us beyond any burden. I love the ground on which his feet stood. I love the ground on which his feet stood. So this is a song which I wrote some years back, in which I try to express how it was for me whenever I spent time with my Satguru, with my master. It says that I love the ground on which his feet stood. Wherever he went, the air grew sweet. The air was filled with light and love. So that's how it was. For me, wherever he stood, it became a holy place. Because in that place, I perceived God's presence. What makes a place holy? What makes a situation holy? Sacred. It is when something higher descends upon us. When a special atmosphere is created. When our consciousness is expanded, it's deepened. When we perceive something different, which is not just coming from body, senses, and mind, but it's a spiritual perception, something that goes beyond body, senses, and mind. So that's what makes something holy, sacred. When we are able, by the grace of God, or by the presence of the living Satguru, to experience something deeper, more profound, more fulfilling. When our consciousness is uplifted, otherwise, place is just a place. Body is just a body. A person is just a person. What makes a person special is just this capacity to perceive something higher, something more profound, something divine. So in my case, whenever I spend time with my master, with my Satguru, I always had this expansion of consciousness, this broadening of my perspective of life, deepening and seeing things in a more real, profound, sacred way. So that's what makes life beautiful. That's what gives flavor to life. That's what makes it special. Otherwise it's just what? Drinking, eating, working, some pleasures, so much pain and suffering. What's the purpose of all this? You just have to go through life in this limited way. What's the purpose of it? What gives purpose to life is that at some point in time you have given the grace to experience something superior, something divine. A divine perception which brings a divine intoxication. A divine bliss, a divine ecstasy. Then we understand that life has a purpose. That all these troubles of life, these problems that we all face, they have a purpose. If you are able to experience that kind of sacred presence. Otherwise, no purpose. Useless life. So my Satguru went to so many places, to all programs, and all those occasions, they were such wonderful occasions with this beautiful atmosphere, this divine atmosphere of love, beauty, and bliss, peace. So wherever people come together to meditate, to try to uplift one's consciousness, and this great sense comes, and according to our receptivity, we experience something deeper, something higher. Some may feel just peaceful, some may feel blissful, some may feel intoxicated, some may feel ecstatic. It all depends on us, where we stand. The atmosphere is full with divinity, it's full with power, divine power. It's full with so many things. But as far as we don't perceive it, it's like an empty space. So to perceive something higher, we have to withdraw our attention from this body, from this sense perception, and uplift it through a spiritual practice. What's the purpose of a spiritual practice? To uplift our consciousness and see things in a different perspective. So the song says, what do? He is playing to us the path and made us understand the reality of this life and the afterlife. That's what the Master does. He tries to make us understand just what I said before. We are not just this body, we are not this mind, we are not this sense perception. We are something more, something higher. We are spirit in body, consciousness in body, or embodied consciousness. And that's where we have to get to, experiencing ourselves as consciousness. There is an individual consciousness and there is an universal consciousness, or a divine consciousness. First, we have to try to experience ourselves as individual consciousness. Be aware that we are conscious entities. My Master used to say we are conscious entities, drops of the ocean of all consciousness. So first we experience ourselves as drops of consciousness. Eventually, what does the drop do? It goes back into the ocean and experiences itself as ocean of consciousness. Then our job is done. So uplift our point of view. Make us aware that there is something better in life. Not just this limited life like animals, more or less. What most of the human beings do is more or less what the animals do. The animals cannot raise their consciousness, cannot do spiritual practice. Human beings can. There's a difference. Because human beings may perceive they have this potential. It's ingrained in them. Because, by the way, we are drops of the ocean of all consciousness. So we have this capacity, this potential to go back to our source. But we must want it. It doesn't come just, it may come. It's a rare cases, just like this. It happens to some rare people. But most of the people have to ask for it. Ask and it should be given unto you. Knock and it will be open to you. If you don't ask, nothing is given to you most of the time. If you don't knock, nobody opens to you. So this act of asking, wanting, must begin with us. We must feel the need. Getting fed up with just this daily life, routine life, which takes us nowhere. And wanting something better, something higher. And work for it. When I felt the need for this, I didn't take it easy. I didn't expect somebody to come and visit me or find me out. No, I went and looked for something. So I took a long trip from Italy, and I went to India, via land, 9,000 kilometers, because I was looking for something. Life, as it was, meant nothing to me anymore. So I wanted something, somebody to help me out, to find a way how to experience something better in life. It's possible to be enlightened. It's possible to tune in with the divine light. Many people have had this experience. So it's possible. If so many people write about it, it means that it's possible. It's a possibility for us human beings. So I thought, if it is possible, maybe I should find somebody who is an expert in this field, who has had these kind of experiences and is able maybe to convey to others. So I took this very long trip. It was not just the door beside my house. It was not in the same country. It was, I decided that it should be in India. That was my destiny. That was my way, how it should be. It's a very long trip, 9,000 kilometers. But I took it because I was so hungry for it. But I was rewarded. Very soon, when I reached India, I found such a wonderful man. And I had such an extraordinary experience with him. Something which I could never dream possible for a human being. So when you go to see a master, you expect something to happen. But what I expected was nothing in comparison to what happened. That's the extraordinary thing, the beauty of this meeting which I had. That it was so much beyond any of my expectation. So it really changed my life. It really transformed my life. Because there was a shift in consciousness. And the reality I used to be aware of before, it changed completely. So when you have such an experience, you never go back the same person anymore. It's not possible. Because maybe you have been blind your whole life, you've seen nothing. At some point your eyes open and you see the world. So wow, it's quite different. You never go back to be blind again. So that's how it was. They said, Master opens your eyes. Means it opens your inner eye to see reality from a different perspective. So life becomes really wonderful, beautiful, meaningful when such an experience happens. It deepens the perception that you have. We all have a very limited perception and view of reality. That it becomes like a bottomless something. And what we see with our eyes is not the same anymore. Everything reveals truths which are beyond any imagination when you are in that state of consciousness. We see a tree, it's a tree. We see a person doing an action, just an action. But in that state of consciousness, it reveals you truths of the whole creation. So, what I'm talking is what I know. I don't talk so much because of reading books. I've read a lot of books. But what I talk about is my experience. Because reading book without experience, it takes you nowhere. There are all these, religious people reading all these religious texts their whole life, but they never have a mystical experience. So they don't know anything what they're reading about. They don't know what it means. Because once you have that mystical experience, then what you read, it appears to be totally different. So they seem to understand what they're reading, but they understand nothing. If a person like that eventually has a mystical experience, transcendental experience, then he will understand that what he understood to be, what the scriptures say, is totally different. Or let's say, words written in a book are not able to convey the way it is. Words are too limited. The mind is too limited to express certain truths. Because on the other side, it is so vast. Just imagine, no time, no space. What does it mean? How can it be? No individual, no I. Because we are not this individual I. We are God. It seems too much, but it's the truth. God is not just an individual. All of us is God. We are all God. So that's our potential, which we may realize if we want it. But we must really want it. It's a precious something which doesn't come just, with curiosity. It must be a hunger, an incredible hunger, an incredible wanting. Then it happens. Anything precious, you don't get it like this. You have to dig deep into the ground or go deep into the ocean to find a pearl, find gold, find diamonds. You don't just find them on the road. So the song says, these bonds of affection, unstable they are, those of family, intrigued, painful, revealed to be. That's the life of us human beings. We live for this. Yes, it's okay. That's life. But shouldn't be enough. Because this is not what gives real purpose. We should have this and something else. We are human beings, social beings. It's okay to have a social life, to have a family, to have all these bonds that we all people have. But they shouldn't be enough. We should seek for truth, truth of existence. And which is the best way of seeking, which is the most effective way of seeking. It is coming in touch with a person who has done that work, who is an expert and is capable of moving the waters, let's say, shaking the waters, shaking the consciousness, the attention. Because we are all dormant, we are all sleepy. So we need to be shaken. My Satguru used to say, what does Master do? He revolutionized the thought pattern of the people. We all get stuck into our convictions. I believe this, I believe that. What are these our beliefs? Based on what? On stupid assumptions, most of the time. Empty. Without no real experience of reality and truth. So all this our conviction has to be demolished, crumbled down. if there want to be any hope for us. In these so many years of association with my masters, I built up so many convictions. I believe I understood. Now I really understood how it is. I understood the teachings, I understood what is truth. But then, when I went for a retreat, and I spent, let's say, 10 days of very intense meditation and listening to his discourses, then all my beliefs were shattered. I came away from the retreat with no beliefs whatsoever, no convictions of any kind, because all these beliefs and convictions come from the mind. If you go a bit deeper and you see a vaster reality, then all those beliefs are just garbage, stupidity. So it's very good to be shattered, our beliefs. Otherwise we get stuck into them, and all our life we keep believing the same things, we keep saying the same things like donkeys. And the more we think we know intellectually, the more far away we are from truth. Because truth is not a concept. It's not an idea. It's not a belief. It's not a theology. It's not a doctrine. Truth is a state of consciousness. It's a state of divine consciousness. If you get it, you have it. If you don't have it. So that's why one has to go beyond all possible beliefs, all belief systems. They take you nowhere. They are cages in which you are stuck. So you better believe nothing than believe something. At least you are seeking, looking for something. Because if you are convinced that you already know intellectually, then you are in a cage. No hope. Better to be open and try to find out. He told us that in childhood we played, in adolescence we passions, we burn ourselves, in the mature age we should understand. So that's what human beings do. They are children, they play. Then they become adolescent, they want to experience all possible kind of things. They spoil their mind, their body. They develop addictions, dependencies, which then have to fight their own life with. Then what we want? Richness and power. Then we become the politicians, we become the what? Businessmen, because we want to be rich, we want to be powerful. But the song here says that's like turning around facts like a donkey. So much stress and running after all these things, and eventually what you do? You get sick and you die. You do so much harm to so many people. You don't give out any love, you just want to prey on anybody. Become the most important, the most powerful, the most rich. What for? Eventually we all die. And what stays with us is the good we have done or the bad we have done. So life is a continuous action and reaction. What we do, it comes back to us, whether in this life or in some other lifetime. So we should be very careful about how we act, what we do. Are we in this world to share love with everybody? Are we in this world to bring goodness to this world? Or to bring what? Ugliness, violence, hate. What's our purpose? What's the purpose of our life? So meditation on the light and sound makes us aware that the real world, it is freedom from any dependence. As I said, spiritual practice is the only way we can experience something higher. So when we meet a master, what do we do with a master? We do spiritual practice. Well, that's what we do. We don't just lose time, idle time. No, with the master you do spiritual practice. You go to attend a retreat with the master, you have 7-8 hours meditation per day. That's how the consciousness expands. That's how you raise above body consciousness. That's how you experience what's beyond this body. Is there anything beyond this body? Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't make any difference. As far as you don't experience it, whether you believe or don't believe, it's no different. Is there any God? I believe in God. I don't believe in God. What's the difference? I see God. That makes a difference. So how do we see God? By uplifting this consciousness, raising it above body consciousness. It's a practical experience that we all may have. So it says, when we are initiated into what? The mystery of the beyond. Beyond what? Beyond the body. That's very important. It's a start. You get initiation from a master. You're given something according to your level of receptivity. You have something to build up, to work on, through your daily spiritual practice. As we give food to this body, we should all give food to our soul, to our spirit. And what is this food of the soul or the spirit? Light, because we are light. So how do we contact the light? By going deep into meditation and raising above body consciousness. So once we have this, we see that it's possible, even a little bit. Then we don't believe. We know it's possible. It's our experience. Faith without experience, it has no ground. As soon as big winds blow, it's shaken. Faith with experience, based on experience, then yes, it's grounded. Nobody can shake it. If you have seen something, nobody can tell you it's not there. You have seen it, you know it's there. My master used to say, if you see a horse and somebody tells you it's a dog, you say you're crazy. It's a horse, it's not a dog. So Sadhguru has made us understand that this life is a mirage. The divine light is the only reality that projects on the screen passing by images. We go to see a movie, there are all these things happening there. Nothing is real. Is this light that comes from the projector that projects all the images. But all the images are just passing by. They are not real. That's how life is. Passing by images. This phenomenon of time, which makes everything just gone. Every moment the present becomes the past. Isn't it? We are here for an hour, how much it is? What is it this hour now? Thanks God there is this phenomenon of time, otherwise we believe this is very real. But it's a pure illusion. Where is this time? Where is this hour? Where is this hour 30, 40, 50, 70? I'm 70 now. Where are these 70 years? Just gone. Nowhere to be seen. So isn't it an illusion? 2,000 years ago, 3,000, millions of years ago, where are they? So the only bond that breaks every chain, it is devotion to the One, to the Eternal, that takes us beyond any burden, any troubles, any limitations. But how to be devoted to something that you don't know? It's not possible. We may act like, but it's not possible. You may be devoted to something that you know, that you see with your eyes, at least to a certain degree. And this devotion, this love for the supreme reality, it comes just as you experience it. It keeps growing. The more you experience it, the deeper it becomes, the more real it becomes, the more intense it becomes. Until it becomes your only reality. The only thing you care about. It is said, the enlightened people, those great masters, they are free people. Free from what? From any limitations, from any cage, religious, cultural, political, ideological, this and that. They are above all of this. They just believe in the reality that manifests by and by, moment by moment. What counts is what's happening just now. What counts is my personal experience. What I believe in is what I see with my own eyes and what I hear with my own ears. Raising above any ism, belief system. They only bring troubles to this world, whether it is religious or ideological. That's the big problem of this humanity, these belief systems. We should believe that we are one humanity. that we are all divine in nature, and that we want to achieve this, we want to realize this, we want to make it our own. So dear ones, I hope that I didn't bother you with my talking. I hope it was interesting what it has been said, the song that we sang, whatever has happened this time. My interest is not convincing anybody of anything. My interest is stimulating somehow curiosity for finding something for ourselves, each one of us. Experience is something of our own. And you know what's the beauty of spending time with the Master? It's so much what he says, which may be important, which might be special, but it's this looking into one's eyes. That's the special thing in spending time with the Master. Master Kirpal, my Satguru, first Satguru, I had two masters. My first master used to say, 30% of the teachings are transmitted through words, talks, books, means 1/3. 2/3 through the eyes. Because eyes speak to the eyes. And eyes are the windows of the soul, they say. So that's the best and most immediate and most effective way of tuning in. The most wonderful experiences I had with my masters, it was just by looking into their eyes. But people are afraid of looking into the eyes of somebody, because we feel ashamed, we feel unease. But with the Master, no, there shouldn't be this. It has to be fully open. No reserves. Complete presence, readiness, attention, because that's what we are. What is the soul? It's attention. Where there is attention, there is life. Where there is no attention, there is death. We are alive and we are in attention. Otherwise, what are we? A concentrated attention is the doorway to divinity. So in my life, I had two masters. One was Sankirpal Singh and one was Sant Jairav Singh. This relation lasted some 25 years, starting from 1973 to 1997. And I went to India so many times, every year, to have these retreats, spend time with my masters. First one, then he died, then the other one. Why did I do this? Because those were the most precious times of my life. Those were the times in which I became really alive, in which I really perceived God's presence. And it's not an easy job. You have to be humble, you have to listen, you have to learn, and you have to practice. If I lose my I, what do I become? I become God. That's what I become. Either I or God. Either the individual I or the universal I. So, if you like, I will sing another song and then we have a bit of meditation. Because talking is good, but then it's like, talking is like preparing a meal, but then if you don't eat it, what's the purpose of it? So, relax a bit, nothing to be afraid of. I sing another song and then I guide you a bit into meditation, and then it's over. एक दर्द मंद दिल की हालत तुम्हें बताएं, क्या चीज़ है मुहब्बत, आओ तुम्हें सुनाएं। एक दर्द मंद दिल की हालत तुम्हें बताएं, क्या चीज़ है मुहब्बत, आओ तुम्हें सुनाएं। अफ़शाए राज़े उल्फ़त तौहीने आशिक़िए, अफ़शाए राज़े उल्फ़त तौहीने आशिक़िए, मिट जाए लब पे लेकिन, मिट जाए लब पे लेकिन, क्यों नाम उनका लायन। एक दर्द मंद दिल की हालत तुम्हें बताएं, क्या चीज़ है मुहब्बत, आओ तुम्हें सुनाएं। दुनिया से क्या गरज है, दुनिया से पूछना क्या, दुनिया से क्या गरज है, दुनिया से पूछना क्या, मैं तुझसे पूछता हूँ, मैं तुझसे पूछता हूँ, क्या चीज़ है वफ़ायन। एक दर्द मंद दिल की हालत तुम्हें बताएं, क्या चीज़ है मुहब्बत, आओ तुम्हें सुनाएं। बीमार ने ये काकार फुरकत में जान दे दी, बीमार ने jana dedi abe kone ra deke abe kone ra deke wo ayen yanna ayen ek dard mand dil ki हालत तुम्हें बताएं क्या चीज है मुहब्बत आओ तुम्हें सुनाएं दुनिया मुझको जगाने वाले अब खुद भी जागते मुझको जगाने वाले अब खुद भी जागते मजबूर दिल की आयेन मजबूर दिल की आयेन काली गए न जायन एक दर्द मंद दिल की हालत तुम्हें बताएं क्या चीज है मुहब्बत आओ तुम्हें सुनाएं एक दर्द मंद दिल की हालत तुम्हें बताएं क्या चीज है मुहब्बत आओ तुम्हें सुनाएं So in order to go in a deep meditation, we need to withdraw our attention from all outside. The environment we are in, this body in which we live. We are the indweller of the body. We are not the body. We are attention. So when we close our eyes, there is still an inner eye that keeps seeing something. Maybe we see darkness. But if we look in the space which is in front of our forehead, we may see like a dark screen. If we look in the middle of it, with steady and undivided attention, then our attention begins to withdraw from outside. We forget where we are, forget this body we are in, and we become just an eye that keeps looking. It's like when we see something beautiful and we are charmed, we are enchanted. We keep staring at that something and forget everything else. So in the same way, we close our eyes and we keep looking in the middle of what we see, in front of our forehead. And if you are able to keep looking and avoid being carried away by our thoughts, and just be well focused, well concentrated, then at some point the inner vision may open. Or we may say the third eye opens. And with this third eye or inner eye or mystic eye, we may begin seeing waves of light of different colors, which usually come as whirling waves of light or rolling waves of light. So we keep staring in the center. We may repeat something also, which is like a mantra. Which is like a request. Which can be simply divine light, shine in me, manifest in me. So we keep looking. And we keep asking this divine light to manifest to us. So let's keep meditating like this for a while. See what happens.